Being so old and so big, Ghastly-Gorm Hall was home to quite a few ghosts. There was the white nun, who sometimes appeared in the long gallery on moonlit nights, the black monk, who occasionally haunted the short gallery, and the beige curate, who slid down the banisters of the grand staircase on the first Tuesday of each month. They usually mumbled, wailed softly, or, in the case of the curate, sang in a high-pitched, lisping voice, but they never actually said anything, unlike this mouse. "Have you been a ghost for long?" Ada asked, putting the candle down and sitting cross-legged on the carpet. I don't think so," said the ghost of a mouse. "You see, the last thing I remember was scuttling along the corridor of a dusty, cobwebby part of the house I'd never been in before." The mouse shimmered palely in the candlelight. "I've been visiting a shrew in the garden and lost my way on my return journey. I've a cosy mouse hole in the skirting board of your father's study. At least, I did have." The mouse paused and let out another little sigh before changing the subject. "You must be the daughter," it said, looking up at Ada. "The little goth girl, the one that stomps around in those big boots." "That's right. My name's Ada," said Ada politely. "What's yours?" "Call me Ishmael," said the ghost of a mouse. "Anyway, I was keeping to the shadows, head down, when I picked up this delicious scent wafting down the corridor towards me. Well, I couldn't resist. I followed my quivering nose, and it led me to this lump of cheese, yellow, with bluish bits, and a smell like a stable boy's socks." Ishmael closed his eyes, and his entire body flickered appreciatively. "Sounds like Blue Gormley," said Ada. Footnote: Blue Gormley is one of the lesser-known cheeses of England. Together with Somerset Stink, Mouldy Bishop, and Cheddar Not So Gorgeous, it is also considered one of the stinkiest. Personally, I think it smells fine. There were several truckles in the kitchen larder the last time Ada looked. Not that she went to the kitchen very often. It was run by Mrs. Beetham, who was very large and very loud and far scarier than any ghost. She spent her time inventing recipes and writing them down in an enormous book, while shouting at her kitchen maids and making them cry. Her food was extremely complicated and often difficult to eat, needing 23 different knives, forks and spoons at breakfast and lunch. Even more cutlery was required at dinner. Her rhinoceros foot jelly and baked sea otter pie in a reduction of scullery maid's tears was Lord Goth's favourite dish, though Ada preferred a soft-boiled egg and soldiers herself. "Blue Gormley," said Ishmael. "It smelled delicious, whatever it was. I reached out to take it when, snap! Everything went black." He gave a little shudder. "The next thing I know, I'm white and see-through and hovering in the air, looking down at myself, caught in a horrible mousetrap." "How awful," said Ada. "I couldn't bear to look," said Ishmael sadly. "So I floated away, and I don't know why, but something drew me here, to your room." "Perhaps I can help," said Ada, although she wasn't exactly sure what she could do. Ishmael shrugged and said, "I don't see how." He paused. "Unless—" "Unless what?" said Ada. "Unless you came with me and collected the trap," the ghost of a mouse said, his whiskers quivering, "before any more innocent mice get hurt." "That's a good idea," said Ada. Tiptoeing silently in her tightrope walking slippers, Ada followed Ishmael as he led her out of her bedroom, down the corridor, and through the long gallery towards the top of the grand staircase. Moonlight flooded through the tall windows, illuminating the portraits on the walls. There was no sign of the white nun, Ada noted, but the eyes of the portraits seemed to follow her as she tiptoed past. There was the first Lord Goth, with a pudding bowl haircut and a lacy ruff, and the third Lord Goth, with a painted-on beauty spot. The fifth Lord Goth had a lopsided powdered wig and a big belly and seemed to be in a bad mood. "This way," said Ishmael, floating down the stairs. Ada looked around. There was no sign of the beige curate, so she climbed onto the banister.